We're ready.
Yo, what's going on, Facebook? It's your boy, John Mosley, Popular Nobody. First off, let me give a big shout out to American Salon for giving me the opportunity to come to their platform and do what I love. It's Friday, we're in the barbershop, we hanging out. Of course, you don't see nobody here. We have to kick everybody out because the barbershop, you just know how it goes. So we just gonna have fun, ask as many questions as you can. After we're done with this video, upload it, share it, repost it. Let's get as many views as we can, because if you want to see me on this same platform and other platforms doing this again, we got to get the views. So support this, support your local artists, support any artist, and love what you do. So we just gonna have fun, ask questions, and we got this live, baby. So just, understand that I'm giving you some barbering techniques today. So the way that I cut hair, I always cut hair into a 3-point system. I always find short, medium, and long within inside my haircuts because I want to build a foundation to a haircut. Understanding that it's not about how much hair you take off, it's about how much hair you leave on to build from that point. And so today, I'm working with, a little textured hair. I'm actually going to give it a little texture up top. You can tell this is probably about a 4-week row back from something that was a tad bit shorter. And so I'm just going to go in and have fun with it. We're going to start out pretty low from temple to nape and get the shortest point of this haircut. So that's what I'm going to do starting out from the jump. I'm using my Andis Envy clipper. And I'm just going in and establishing my shorter lengths. Notice how I'm going in at 90, coming out at 45 with that flick. The reason why I do that is so that I do not create a hard line. I don't want to make a hard line. I do not want to have to blend lines out. A lot of times you may see other barbers or other artists, cosmetologists as well, you'll see them come in and they kind of come in with lines like this. I feel that if you put a line in, then you're going to spend a lot of time taking that out. And we all know time is money. When you're working behind a chair, time is money. So if you notice how I flick to establish the next blend without having to worry about making a hard, heavy weight line.
All right. Serena Morrow says, hey.
What's up, Serena? How you living?
Luis Hernandez is giving you the winky face. He was your first guy on.
Louis, what's up, man? Thanks for following me over. I'm sure you followed me over from my Instagram page. We went live on Instagram before we jumped over into American Salon page just to have fun with people and tell them where to come find me for the next 35, 45 minutes or so. Like Pop said on Friday, we don't go in there for about 35, 45 minutes. That's what we're about to do. You're not going nowhere for 35, 45 minutes. So as you can see, we already previously cut one side for time restraint, so you'll get the finish of this once we complete this side. So you can see the gradient that I've created on the opposite side. Actually, once I go in with this clipper work here, I start back into clipper over comb to build shape. All men haircuts I do, I cut square first. And the reason why I cut square is so that I can create a round shape easier from a square situation and a square shape than you can from something that's already rounded.
Naomi Johnson says, thank you for this.
Tell Naomi, thank you for coming and hanging out with us today.
Do you prefer cord or cordless clippers?
That is a great question. The question was asked, do I prefer cord or cordless? Honestly, I like both. I'm using an Envy because I like the way it establishes and sets up my haircut because it's a rotary motor clipper. But then I'll go in with my corded masters and build off of what I established with my Envy. So it just really depends on what I'm doing, what looks I'm going for, and what effect I want on my haircuts.
Debbie Calderon says, this is my first time watching.
Well, it won't be your last time, Debbie, I promise you. And the reason why it won't be the last time is because you're going to go ahead and share this video after we're done, and then you can watch it again. Save it.
Summer Spring says, I love to watch it. Thank you for a useful clip.
Summer, thank you for hanging out with us. Don't go nowhere, though, for 35, 45 minutes.
Serena Morrow said, thank you for this class. Supposed to have hands-on men's fades at a salon, and they canceled.
Well, now you're getting all the way live.
You have great energy.
Thank you. It's because I ate a bunch of Mike and Ikes before. Shout out to Mike and Ike. They're the plug. So what you see me doing now is going in and adjusting my lever to create the shadows and gradients in certain areas, just to make sure that I'm staying consistent all the way through. So you can't really see it now, but as I adjust the lever, so up is going to make the haircut close, down is going to open up and push hair before I cut it. So as I'm working through the, the head shape, I'm moving close, open, and in the middle to start my blend.
Claudia Cirilla asked, did he go from 0 to 1?
The question was asked by Claudia, did I go 0 to 1? I went 1 first and established my building point, and then I went back to the nape area and went 0 up into the 1, because then I can see the gradient. I have a starting point, and I also have a stopping point.
Helen Karemidis is there a first time watching from Sydney, Australia.
Ooh, shout out to the Aussies. What's going on over there? I'm glad you decided to come play with us tonight. So you see I have already my shape built in. I went in at that 90 to 45, so you see that shape. I build off of that. Now I come in clipper over comb. And what I'm actually using today is my new edition Popular Nobody comb set. So as you'll see, I'll lock this comb in. The reason why I use the comb because it's thin, so I get nice and close, but also the teeth are tight. The comb is handmade wood with a carbon finish or ceramic finish, so that it's heat resistant as well for cosmetologists. So I go in, C-shape with my fingers, I lock the comb in. My guide is here and my guide is now here. So what I'm doing is going in, locking that comb in, and work my way around this head shape. As I work my way around, you'll start to see the transition happen.
Rachel Rodriguez wants to know, how long have you been doing hair? First time watching from New Orleans.
Shout out to Rachel from New Orleans. I've actually been doing hair 16 years. I've been a barber 16 years. I love every minute of it. I still get inspired every day to, just cut hair and have fun.
Matt and Sam Corral, is there a brand of clippers that you prefer?
What's going on, Matt? Yeah, the clippers that I prefer, I actually only use Andis clippers. That's my go-to. I love how they feel in my hand. I actually love what they do for me, the way they make my haircuts look. So that's the brand that I prefer.
And they also want to know, where do you find your Popular Nobody combs?
For the Popular Nobody combs, the website is under construction, but you can go into my Instagram and actually leave me a DM or a comment, and I'll respond back and I'll give you ordering instructions. So that's how we find them for right now. So what I'm doing now is a technique where I turn the comb on a diagonal, and the reason why I travel diagonal is so that when I travel with my clipper, I get lines softened. So I'm gonna actually go on a diagonal and use a guide from here and the top of the occipital area, low crown area as my guide. Stick the comb in. I close my clipper up because I wanted to cut the hair. And then you should start seeing that hair.
Amanda Meek, how do you know when to switch freehand like that?
Amanda, the way that I know how to or when to switch, it's the comfort level. It's logical. It's what feels most comfortable and what body position are you going to work with. And once you figure that out, that's when you actually know when to do it. It's something that will naturally come to you and it'll naturally click, and that's what you want to go for, is what feels the most comfortable and most natural.
Natasha LeBron, that blending is on point. I'll get there someday.
Natasha, if you keep watching, that's when you're going to get it. Keep watching. It's not hard. Like I said, the clipper techniques, the comb that I choose to use, everything plays a factor. Everything plays a part. The comb is also a tool that most people forget, and is one of the most unutilized tools in an arsenal, because you think your comb doesn't matter. You think that you could get just any type of haircut with any type of comb, and that's not true. This is a flat comb, so it allows me to get the flat shapes that I need and get really tight and close with the clipper.
Kareem Habas, the Big Cheese says, what's up? Do you have a bundle price for your combs?
Kareem, what's going on, brother? Yes, the combs are, you get a five-piece comb set for $45, and it comes with a great pack. So you notice I also switched my hand position with my clipper. I went back to my clipper, thumb on top, and I'm working back into my previous guide as I work my way through.
Danielle Green wants to know, do you think that curly men's fades are different to cut versus straight? If so, why?
Danielle, thanks for that question. You're amazing. What I think about extra curly hair or curly hair, I feel like the fades are not different. The only thing that may change is length. Technique is always going to stay the same, but your length may change, your tool selection may change, but your technique should always remain the same.
Lisa Reed wants to know, do you ever use guards?
How you doing, Lisa? That's a great question as well. I do use guards, but first I always establish my haircuts first with all clipper over comb or shear over comb work. And then I'll come back in and use the guard for refinement, not for the complete haircut.
Danielle Jones, where are you located?
Danielle Jones, that's a great question, man. I'm pretty much everywhere. You can find me everywhere, local hair shows, big hair shows. My shop is actually in Long Beach, California. I've been here since I was, a rookie. But as it grows, I'm still a rookie. I just still love having fun cutting hair. So I'm in Long Beach right now. We're all the way live, baby, from Long Beach.
One more. Sonia DeLurie, I have been doing hair for 24 years and I love it more and more every day. I just recently did a master's class with Maddie Conrad in Vancouver, Canada. What do you perceive will be the trends in men's hair within the next few years?
That is a great question. Where do I see trend going in the next few years? Honestly, the way I figure out trends is I just look at soccer. I follow soccer and watch what's going on in soccer, and that's going to tell you where the trends are going to come from. So right now you see a lot of textured work. You see a lot of PC looks on men. So it varies. Ain't no telling. We can have something looking hot right now, and then tomorrow it could be a whole nother look depending on who wears it on camera. So I believe in, you setting a trend and being a trend and don't follow one.
Helen Karamidas wants to know if you would ship your comb packs to Australia.
I don't see why not. If Australia want the combs, I will bring the combs to Australia. So same technique, you just see me feathering and lightly softening his blend. Come back in the same way I went from short to long in the nape. I do it in the side area, in the sideburn area, temple area, just so that everything around the perimeter of the haircut stays the same.
Jennifer White wants to know, what do you think of cordless clippers versus corded?
What I think about cordless clippers over cordless. Cordless gives you a lot of movement and freedom, where the cords you're kind of refined. You can't really get as loose as you would like to. So for me, I utilize both because of that.
Rio Lexan de Armas, what do you do with the cowlicks when you get to them?
That's funny. I got a joke that I always tell people, in my classes. It's like, there's 3 fights in life you can't win. 1, police. 2, domestic violence. And 3, a cowlick. So you want to stay away from those 3 types of fights. I don't like to fight hair. I like to let hair do naturally what it wants to do. So I cut hair in the place where it wants to live naturally, and I don't try to change it or alter it. I just find it, see where it naturally wants to live, and then from that point on, I'll go in and cut it there. So a lot of over direction with cowlicks.
Claudia Cirilla wants to know, is the comb heat resistant?
Claudia, great question. Is the comb heat resistant? Yes, it is. is very much so heat resistant.
April Harris wants to know, is it just a preference to not use guards until the end?
April Harris. The reason why I use the guards at the end is because I create the shape with the clipper over comb or scissor over comb, and then I come in with the guards to refine in the shorter length areas that I can't really get using just my straight clipper over comb. So for me, it's more so a refinement tool and a actual blending tool towards the end of my haircuts.
Megan Bildner, does your clippers get hot after using them for a period of time? If so, what do you do to cool them down?
Great question, Megan. Honestly, the reason why your clippers may be getting hot is because you're actually not putting oil on them. So when you want to oil your clippers to prevent them from getting warm, what you do, you put a drop in each corner. So you have one drop here, one in the center. Turn it on and rotate it side to side so that the oil come in. Everybody watching this right now, this is a great example of something that'll let you understand why your clippers get hot. I want you to take your hands, put your phone down just for a second. Take your hands and rub them together real fast, Mr. Miyagi style. When you rub them that fast together, Mr. Miyagi style, you're causing friction because you have no lube in your hand. So that's the same thing that you're doing with the metal. Metal to metal grinding is what's causing your clipper to heat up. So to prevent or get longevity before your clippers start to heat up, actually put a little oil in them and then allow yourself time to work smarter and not harder.
Danielle Green, are you coming to the Vegas IBS or Cosmoprof show, and will you be on stage?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we have some companies out that's watching right now. So if they're watching right now, you guys heard it. They want to see me in IBS. So how can we make it happen to all you awesome companies?
Nicole Almond, cordless, are they powerful?
Cordless, are they powerful? That's a great question. The clippers that I'm using that's actually cordless are the NVLIs. They run for 2 hours. They got a 2-hour run time. And because of the lithium battery, it doesn't bog down. It naturally just shuts down. So I would say, yes, they're powerful enough. You actually see me complete this part of the haircut, the building part of this haircut, and establishing my limbs.
Danielle Jones, very cool. Hope to run into you at a show someday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle. But it sounds like you're leaving. Wait, don't leave. Stay. Keep talking.
Tracy Medeiros, how much are the combs and where do you order?
Tracy, you order off of my Instagram. Go to popular_nobody on Instagram. Slide in my DM and let's have a conversation about this $45 investment that you're going to have some fun with and love. Because if you're honestly doing men's cutting, I say you need this comb set. If you're doing women's cutting, you love pixies, you need something, this is the comb set that you need to make sure that it works for you.
How long does it take to do a cut like you're working on? From Pam Fanin.
And normally this haircut is about a 20-minute haircut on average, you know, from start to finish. But you also got to know your clientele. Sometimes you have wine and dine clients. Sometimes you have fast food clients. Fast food clients mean they just want to get in and out, so you don't, have to waste too much time on them. I'm a barber that actually cut hair with shears that's dry cutters and wet cutters, depending on my clients. So I let my client dictate, how long the haircut is going to be and what type of shears that I use on them.
Well, there's your answer to Vegas. Andrew Reeves says yes, he will be in Vegas.
That's what I'm talking about, Reeves in the clutch.
Aviana Rose wants to know, are you coming to the premiere show in Orlando?
Aviana, I don't think I am. I think I'm actually previously booked. I've actually been booked, and when I say booked, I mean blessed, because I'm doing about 30 classes a month all over the United States. And so I don't think I was able to get Premiere Orlando in this year because of the fact that I am, I have been booked for a while now. So you can see now how that blend is starting to take place. So I've actually caught up to what I left off on the opposite side that we previously recorded, or previously cut, I should say. So as I work my way back around,
Caitlin Smith, saw you at Palm Mitchell School, Murfreesboro. You're amazing. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm glad you love my work and love my energy. I'm gonna keep producing it, keep pumping it out. You know, in life, you're either a thermostat or a thermometer, and if you don't know the difference, one reads temperature and one changes temperature. So I'm always gonna be the one that come in and change the temperature.
Jennifer White wants to know, what's the secret to a good flat top? I have some old school clients that still love them.
This is the secret. This is the secret. A good comb is a great secret to a great flat top. Also the technique. So even though my man Jeremy here is not wearing a flat top, you want to be able to pull that hair out and cut it where it lives to create the square shape. Then when you come across the top, most people try to cut the flat top here, but what you actually need to do is put your comb in and lift that hair straight up so that you can set a guide and you can see the guide all the way through and then work your way to finish your guide.
Deanna Coblish, do you prefer guards to blend or are blades okay?
Me personally, it really depends on what I'm doing. I use blades to establish my looks and I use guards to blend my looks. So I do a lot of clipper over comb though as well. Like I love clipper over comb.
Chandra Pearl, doing an awesome fade.
Thank you, thank you. Where you from?
Claudia Navarro Gonzalez, I love it. Hello from Mexico.
What's up, Mexico? All the way live, baby. So I'm going in now and starting to actually clean up the bottom part of Jeremy's fade. So I'm going in with a small manicuring brush just to brush any previously cut hair off his scalp so that I don't have any areas where I think there might be hair and I keep cutting.
Patty Acosta wants to know, what tip would you give a stylist on blending guys' fades with the blades?
Great question, Patty. So if you're only using detachable blades, what I would like for you to do and to understand is that those are preset numbers. So if a client comes in and says he wants a 3 on the sides and finger length up top or 2, whatever, what you need to establish is that what's your shortest point. Once you establish your short point, find your long point and then go back in and use those blades. But the technique is that in at 90, out at 45 is going to be very crucial for you because of the fact that you don't have the guards.
Colin Anthony says, what up, Mosley?
Colin, that's my Hanzo family right there. What up, bro?
Michelle Foyt says, I never gone back and forth with a clipper like that before. Is there a reason you keep going over the same spot over and over again?
Great question. So the reason why I'm going back and forth over the same spot, because if you look at, you got to always establish where the cowlick is. You figure out which way the cowlick is. You can't always just cut against the grain and figure that you're going to get it. Sometimes you have to go across the grain, and that's one of the keys to getting a seamless fade is going against and cross the grain to get that seamless look. So that's why I'm going constantly over some of the same areas because of the direction of the hair growth. It may have changed a little bit, so I want to make sure that it's all even.
Okay, Katie Brent, how do you decide what clipper to use and when?
Great question, Katie. So the reason why you'll see me use different clippers. So a rotary motor clipper, that's a much more powerful motor. That's what I use to establish my haircuts up with, and then I use a magnetic motor to blend. Also, a rotary motor can cut wet or dry hair. Now, do I recommend cutting wet hair with clippers? No, I don't, because that will, bog and clog your clippers. So I recommend just sticking to cutting clipper work dry.
Naomi Johnson, do you change the way you cut depending on each client's head shape, or is it the same on each client?
Great question, Naomi. I do change up the way I cut because I feel like I build haircuts for my clients' heads. And everybody's head shape is not the same. Everybody's hair texture is not the same. So because of that, I like to change up, my cutting style sometimes to match my client.
We're back with Danielle Green. She says, I want 5 combs. I have 5 stylists.
That is beautiful. Well, you can find, like I said, go to my Instagram and leave me a comment at popular_nobody. Even though a lot of people think I'm a somebody, I'm still nobody. I'm just my mother and my father's son. And we can have a conversation. You can leave me your phone number, and I could take your order, and then we could go from there. So what you see me doing now is taking this square, and I'm actually starting to round his shape out in his cowlick area without interfering with the growth pattern.
Danielle Jones, how do you feel about the pompadour and hard part haircuts coming back in the last few years? Do you think they will stick around a little longer?
The one thing that I know for sure, tradition never gets old. Tradition never goes out of style. So that pompadour haircut, that's going to always be something that someone loves and someone wants to get. So I believe it's going to stick around. And I think a lot of versatility has come from that pompadour. Now we have comb overs that are cut like a pompadour, but it's still a comb over. So it's like, just being able to see the versatility that comes out of a pompadour is amazing.
Freddie Razzo says, those Ghostmasters though.
Those Ghostmasters. What up, Freddie?
Hey, Sammy Stafford, will you be cutting the top of the hair? I feel like the top is the hardest part of men's cutting.
You know what? Just for that, we're going to go into the top right now. Let's get to it. Let's ask them. So, before I do anything, I always brush my client back down because I am about to add water to his haircut, so I want to make sure that all loose hair is not stuck to his skin anymore. And I'm just going to mist the top.
Tina Ratcliffe, which trimmers do you use on the neck to clean up?
Great question, Tina. I use the Andis T-outliners.
Sonia Delury, what is your favorite foil clipper?
My favorite foil clipper is the Andis, Pro Foil. So what I'm doing now, I didn't oversaturate his hair. I kept it where it has some saturation in it, but it also is not dripping in my client's face. You don't want that. So my shear choice today is the Hanzo, the Mamba. Everybody would think about Mamba as Kobe Bryant, and that's what I'm gonna use right now. The Mamba. I'm gonna start out by establishing my length up front. Notice when I cut, I don't cut direct steel blade onto my finger. I angle it up. And the reason why I angle it up is to give me a little more room to slide with, come in, and it also actually polishes the tips of the hair as if I was cutting with a straight razor. The Mamba is an awesome dry cutting shear, so that's why I like to use it, even though I went in and added a little moisture to his hair.
What brand of shears do you use?
I'm actually using, and I only use Hanzo shears, and that's what I'm using now. I'm using the Mamba. So this is up, so you see me using the Mamba here. Coming in.
How do you fade out indentations in a guy's head? My dad has a rough past and has a lot of indentations in his head. I struggle with blending those.
Sometimes the indentations they're there naturally, and the only thing that you can do to try to change it up is leave the hair longer, or if your dad is comfortable with it, he's comfortable with that past he has, so you work with it. So either let the hair grow longer, or you actually go in and cut it shorter and expose them.
Frank Ryland, what's your opinion of the NVLI?
My opinion of the NVLI is I love it. I love that clipper just as much as I love these Mambas that I'm cutting with right now.
Lisa Reed, do you ever get hair splinters?
Do I ever get hair splinters? Honestly, Not really. Not really, and I don't cut with gloves. I'm not a fan of cutting with gloves. I love cutting hair.
Beverly Higgins, do you use a clipper or straight razor on a hard part?
Great question, Beverly. I use both. Sometimes if the client wants, a hard part to be a little more defined, then I'll come in with my liners first and then come back with my straight razor.
Tammy Moore, any advice for new stylists cutting with clippers? My issue is blending. Awesome job. Thank you for the show. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Tammy. What I would recommend is always remember in at 90, out at 45. The more you in at 90, out at 45, the better off you'll be. So you can see by going in and starting out square in the top, coming in to just connect to that previous cut section, you'll run right into your guide.
Becca Hampton, loving your technique and teaching style. Do you have a link to any other videos? Would love to see more of you.
Unfortunately, right now, none of my work is actually online yet. I keep my work kind of private because I do so many classes, so I want people to come out to the classes and really just come hang out with me and enjoy my personality and not just watch the videos at home. So right now I'm doing a lot of classes and I'm probably in your area sometime soon. So, my thing is, my work will be out soon. I'm working on something now, and you'll start to see small clips, surface online of videos of my work.
Tracy Joyner wants to know, what kind of shears do you use again?
Tracy, these are Hattori Hanzo shears, and these are actually the Mamba. They're a dry cutting shear, and so that's why I'm using them. Although you see me apply a little water to his hair, a shear is going to cut, but this is predominantly a gray shear because of the steel makeup, and it's a little stronger, so it allows you to power through.
Patty Acosta wants to know if you can please explain the angle of the shears again.
Yes, Patty, sure. The way I'm holding my shear, I'm not staying flat. So I'm not coming here, I'm actually coming here. So that I cut, so when I finish cutting and I move that hair, it actually starts to lay more so than having a straight hard line in it.
Naomi Johnson wants to know, do you ever use clippers on the top of the head instead of shears?
That's a great question. No. No, I normally always work with my shears up top.
What length of shears are you using?
That's a great question. Right now I'm using my Hanzo Mambas, the 6'5". 6'5" Mamba.
Okay. Taylor Schneller wants to know, do you ever use thinning shears?
That's a great question. So yes, I always use texture shears. A lot of my haircuts that you see, I use texture shears in a lot of them. And the reason why is because a lot of times people say, like, if you use texture shears, you're cheating. But I feel like if you go to Home Depot and you're looking for a hammer, there's no specific type of hammer you could get that's cheating. You just find something that gets the job done. And for me, texture shears get the job done. I don't call them thinning shears because in the man's world, thinning is something you want to stay away from. So you want to continue to just call them texture shears.
Jacqueline Casper, do you ever have issues with the cowlick sticking out? How can you get it more under control?
Great question, Jasmine. The way you get it under control is you stay away from that area to last. I call it the red zone, and we always got to be on defense. I use a lot of sports references. So if you're in the red zone, I mean the team is going to score. If you get in trouble, you stay away from this red zone until towards the end of the haircut. You finish cutting everything else, and then go back to let the hair lie where you want it to lie, and then come back in.
Patty Acosta, any classes again in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or close by?
That's a great, actually, Patty, I'm actually coming to Tulsa May 13th. I'll be on stage at a show May 13th in Tulsa. So if you go to my Instagram, leave me a message, I will be glad to send you over that information.
Becca Hampton wants to know if you're coming to Michigan anytime soon.
Yes, I actually know those dates. I'm glad you guys asked me dates that I know. So I'll be in Michigan May 23rd and 24th, doing a nice little cutting class. So now you're gonna see me switch. So I went from using a big clipper comb for clipper over comb, then I jumped down to a smaller comb, all purpose for more shear work up top to help me grip the hair a little better. I'm actually gonna go back to my clipper comb, and I'm using a 7.5 inch shear now to refine. So I'm going in with the 7.5 inch shear, elevating hair and pushing hair out of the way so that I'll refine this blend and get a nice finished look on this blend.
Angela wants to know if you're coming to Seattle anytime soon. And Janet wants to know if you're coming to San Antonio, Texas.
I don't have neither one of those on my schedule anytime soon, but I definitely have Portland. So you can catch me in Portland coming up soon. San Antonio, I don't have any dates yet for San Antonio, but I'm sure if you leave me a message, we can make it happen.
Claudia Cirillo wants to know, would you recommend these shears for a hairstylist?
Of course I will. Of course I will. At the end of the day, just because I'm a barber, I'm still cutting hair. I'm still a hairstylist. So, of course, I would recommend these shears to anybody who cut hair. If you don't have a pair, then you're missing out. Come hang out with us at Hanzo Nation and enjoy some haircutting parties.
Okay, Matt and Sam Corral. If his hair was curly, would you saturate it with water or still just mist it? I find scissor cutting curly hair is easier saturated.
Yeah, I like to saturate it and then comb it out so that I get its natural form and it's going to live exactly where it wants to live. So that's why I go in and saturate the hair first and get that blend.
Katie Aller wants to know if you can explain the angle of the clippers for blending again.
The clipper angle is always going to be 90 and 45.
Okay. Monica Kincaid, why do you always use your shears on top?
Why do I always use my shears up top? For me, that's what I'm comfortable with. I enjoy cutting hair with my shears. Also, too, cutting hair with shears allows you to make more money. People look at what we do with our clippers and say that's not art because they could go pick up a pair of clippers from the grocery store and buy them and say, well, if he could do it, I can do it. And they don't really realize how much work and effort it takes for us to complete this type of work. So when you cut hair with shears, you don't give your client an option to go buy a pair of shears and they can get it done. And then I like the way my Hanzos make my work look, so that's why I use my shears.
Leslie Naring wants to know if you're coming to Atlanta anytime soon.
Leslie, I don't have Atlanta on the books either, but we can make it happen.
Amanda Richter asked for Tampa, Florida.
Amanda, I don't have Tampa either. I was just out there, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, we can make anything happen. Just leave me a message, and we can go from there.
Katie Aller, New York dates.
New York, actually, I'll be in Connecticut this weekend at Savior Scissor Salon, teaching a class with a couple of my good friends, Cole Thompson and Ashley. So we'll be out having fun in Connecticut.
Tiffany Ward, do you ever use a cutting agent or product in the hair for better grip while cutting?
That's a great question. Sometimes I will use a cutting agent if I'm working with longer hair and I'm cutting something that I don't want to cut dry. But because I'm cutting Jeremy's hair and refining it dry, then no, I'm not going to use a cutting agent.
Yesenia Alvarez, California classes anytime soon.
I have one on the books right now for California, July 23rd. It's an actual Sunday and it's a hands-on class. So if you want more information, follow me on Instagram. I put all my classes out on my Instagram because I feel like social media should be about socializing and talking in business and getting great ideas and, connecting with a network of people that, may be somewhere else. So follow me on Instagram, popular_nobody, and let's talk.
Harley Nagel wants to know, do you have any advice for cosmetologists who want to cut more like a barber?
Yeah, Harley, the advice that I would give you is attend more barbering classes, get into more men's grooming classes, find out where they are in your area. If you own a pair of Hattori Hanzo shears, go to their website and see what classes they have coming up in your area and attend, you know. So that's what I recommend.
Nicole Baxter, what trimmers is he using?
Nicole, I was just using the Andis T outliners. So we're rounding out to the finish of this haircut. Before I finish and I give you the last technique before we get off this live feed, I'm going in refining Jeremy's haircut. I re-outlined his hairline, brought out the detail in it just a little bit, tapering out his sideburns just a little bit more to get that finished, polished look, that clean look. Also, for you guys that logged in late, you know, if you logged in late, I started out with a 1, going tempo all the way around the head to the nape area, working my way up clipper over comb using the Popular Nobody comb brand, and then building that shape. Once I built that shape, I came back in clipper over comb, then I went in, added a little moisture to the top of Jeremy's head, went cut in with my Hanzo 6.5-inch Mamba shear, finished out pulling straight back, a slight over direction to the back, just a little bit, and then pulling straight up at 90 and cutting it square, and then connecting it 90 on the side, 45 to round to the head shape. Finish out with a little refinement with a little scissor over comb to bring that out. And last but not least, before we get out of this live, texture shears. You asked if I use texture shears, here it is. This is the Hanzo 13T. This is the way I use it. I'm gonna actually go in and start the channel cut. Pull out, come in opposite side, pull out, continue out, back in, and back in. The reason why I like this shear, this texture shear, is because it gives you 13 accurate point cuts if you were picking up hair to get a point cut. I prefer to use my 13T. But the way that I just used this 13T today was to give me like a fish scale look once I go in and apply a little product to Jeremy's haircut. Also, another way you can use this texture shear, it's only removing 50% of his hair, so I could get crazy if I want to. So go back in and slide all the way across. If you do a lot of pixie cuts, if you do a lot of, you know, face framing, you can also use this shear for that same reason.
Sarah Steele, thank you for actually calling them texture shears. Too many people call them thinning shears and then in turn misuse them.
Sarah, listen, I work in a man's world, and if you say thinning, you have just lost your clientele. So I do not want to lose my clientele, so I'm going to continue to always say texture shears because I want my men clients to love me for the rest of their life and their kids' life.
Melinda Soward, how do you prefer to check your work?
The way I prefer to check my work is just using my eyes. I like to go off my eyes so you can see how I cleaned up that side. Just the final refining technique before I go back in and add that water and finish out with my product.
Monica Kincaid says awesome. Here's one. Christina Packard. I work with the same shear and a 7-inch. They're great. A bit expensive for the beginner though. What do you have to say to that?
I feel like a beginner is, and first off, let me thank you for using the shears because I'm a fan of them as well. I love them. They're awesome. But what you have to understand, even as a beginner, it doesn't matter what type of car you drive, you learn how to drive it. No matter how much it costs, you pay to play. So if you're gonna pay to play, I'm gonna play with the best tools out in the market, so I choose to pay whatever price I gotta pay to get the best tools in my hand. So I went and added a little product in. Now I'm going in another like DJ Khaled, another Popular Nobody comb. I'm coming in wide tooth, and you can see how I went in and added that texture all the way through. Using that 13T allows me to get that textured look, but still keep germy hair nice and even.
Nicole Walsh says, you must make the investment. Lauren Curl, look at that texture. Look at that comb.
So, thank you guys for coming to hang out with me today. American Salon, thank you. Viewers, thank you. Supporters, thank you. I really appreciate their time. I really respect your time. I know it's Friday. Everybody got to go turn up. I think Jeremy's ready to go turn up. He got a nice haircut showing off his texture. So, once again, thank you guys so much. Share, repost, talk about it, spread the word about what I'm doing as far as education. Thank American Salon for this opportunity. I thanked them already. It's your turn to thank them, and let's get back to it. Have a nice